overall, like, let's be serious here. No one's having big conversations about any golfer other than Tiger Woods, right? You would agree with that.
Yeah, no, there's no grand sweeping
For a moment,
takeaways.
there was Spieth. For a moment, there's some real Spieth hype about what is Jordan Spieth, how great can Jordan Spieth be, because he started racking up majors at such a young age.
And he's 25. He has 3.
Right. Exactly. So there was a moment there with
28.
him.
He has 3. I think that's part of it, too, is that it's watered down, right? Like, there's a lot of these guys that had claims to being the next guy. Spieth, Koepka now. Dustin Johnson's a little older. I think he's 34, so not really him. Justin Thomas, he's 25, and he finally got his first one last year. McIlroy's 29. He has 4. And at one point, we all thought each one of those guys had a claim to be the next guy everybody was trying to beat on a week-in, week-out basis. There isn't that guy, though.
No, and I don't think we're ever going to see that. It's a great point. There's too much parity. There's too many good players to ever see a player dominate quite like Tiger Woods did in the late 90s, early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
The game has just changed so drastically, and greatly because of him and the impact that he had on some of those younger players. Like, every single one of them grew up as a Tiger Woods fan.
Including Brooks Koepka.
Right, but those guys, in an individual sport, we love greatness, right? You want to go in and see it. It's not... There's no Golden State Warriors
right.
effect.
Yeah.
Like, in team sports, we want to see some parity. We want our team to win. But in an individual sport, everybody can just kind of root for that guy. There's no geographical reason to cheer for a guy. You just root for the best. Greatness attracts the most people, and we want people to dominate those sports. It's why we love Nadal. It's why we love Serena. It's why we love Conor McGregor. It's why we loved Ronda Rousey. It's why we love Tiger Woods, right?
Because you can't manufacture it. You can't create a super team. It's just a superhuman.
Yes. It's just one guy. So we're never going to see that again. And we're not going to see that dominant Tiger Woods again because, again, for the reasons that we just mentioned, there's just too many good players on tour. But it did get me thinking, I don't think golf's in trouble. I don't think golf's in trouble. Like, I don't want to do that talk. Like, I feel like we do that way too much with sports of what's in trouble, what's not in trouble. But I think it's kind of proof that over the last decade, when we were debating the whole does golf need Tiger Woods thing, that it's already proof that golf absolutely did need Tiger Woods. And what does that say for a sport that had a decade to develop stars, that they never developed a single guy that really resonated with anyone? Like, still, if I text you on a Sunday, you're out and about, and I'm telling you someone is charging up the leaderboard and they're making a real push to win something, is there anyone that you're actually going to rush to your TV to watch other than Tiger Woods or maybe Phil Mickelson?
Maybe Steph Curry.
Yeah, you're right.
85.
Steph Curry would be number 3.
Yeah.
Like, Steph Curry's golf's 3rd biggest star. So that's my point.
114 Sportsnet 590 fan. It's a good show. Ben Ennis, JD Bunkus. Very happy to be joined now by Jay Coffin, editor at golfchannel.com. Jay, thanks for doing this.
No problem. What's up, boys?
Not a whole heck of a lot. So to what JD was just saying, that the increased viewership whenever Tiger Woods is in contention actually is a statement against golf's popularity. I tend to disagree. I kind of feel like Tiger Woods is kind of like, it's like Air Bud. Like, if a dog was learned how to play tennis or learned how to play golf, and we all started watching the dog play and the numbers were incredible, we wouldn't say, well, there's something wrong with golf because this dog is creating this incredible ratings number. No, it's just incredible. Tiger Woods is a freak, and he's separate from the sport. Is there a problem with the popularity of golf outside of Tiger Woods?
No, and look, I think you can have both, can't you? Can't golf need Tiger Woods and still be fine when he's not there? I think it can, and I think these last 5 years have sort of showed us that. I mean, look, we still Jordan Spieth at the Masters is still been a pretty good show. Rory, when Rory gets his head out of his you-know-what and figures out how good he is and can be, when he does amazing things, I think people still want to be able to see him. Dustin Johnson, I think, probably doesn't quite fit in that mold just because of the personality and not quite as flashy. There are still a handful of guys. Phil Mickelson that you mentioned, yeah, he's still a big deal. I mean, you remember a couple of years ago, him and Henrik Stenson at the Open went toe-to-toe. Rory McIlroy beating a host of people a few years ago at the PGA Championship when it was about to get dark. That did crazy ratings. So I think you can do both. I think you can capitalize on these crazy, astronomical, just ridiculous ratings when Tiger's here. but the last 5 years have showed us that golf is still healthy enough and there is enough interest when he hasn't been there.
I don't disagree with any of that. I would say that my one kind of I'll say concern is that I feel like when we're watching this, and maybe this levels out if Tiger continues to have success and this lasts for a fairly significant amount of time. Like if this isn't just some supernova thing where it flames out over the next season or two. But these first two charges that he made at majors, I don't feel like there's more Xander Schauffele fans now. Like, I don't think that there's more conversations among common fans about Schauffele. I don't think that from yesterday that people are now way more into Brooks Koepka or I even have more of an appreciation for his game. Like, I know that he was dwarfed and for good reason. Like, Tiger is one of the greatest, if not the greatest story in all of pro sports right now. I just don't think that the spotlight that he's shining on the sport is doing anything else for some of the other stars in the long term.
I sort of agree and sort of don't. I agree with your Xander analogy. I don't agree as much with Brooks. I think because a different level. This still was a third mate. Look, these ratings up 69% over last year. Yes, they were all there to see Tiger Woods, but you know what? They still saw Brooks Koepka. All right, they were there hoping Tiger won. Tiger didn't win. They still saw Brooks Koepka win. So again, that's not converting. Well, of course they did.
Did they though?
69. Yes, they saw. Yes, they did. They saw Brooks Koepka win. They didn't want him to.
No.
They weren't happy about it, but they saw it. Now that doesn't necessarily convert all of them into Brooks Koepka fans, but they can't help but sort of just by nature of what he did, understand how big of a deal what it was. It still was a guy that held off Tiger Woods. It's still a guy who won his third major and his second this year after coming off wrist surgery. So it may not have converted them into golf fans or Koepka fans, but they are more aware of the guy now because they showed up to watch Tiger Woods.
Okay, so how good was that Tiger Woods we saw over the weekend? It's not just, hey, how good is Tiger Woods? Like, literally, how good was that Tiger Woods in comparison to the guy we saw 18 years ago who was the greatest golfer I'd ever seen, the Tiger Slam in 2000. Nobody was better because, you go by the numbers, he's as good as he's ever been. He's never done that, the final 3 rounds of a major, scoring that well.
Right.
And by 4 strokes. And, man, to go 3 under on that front 9 after not hitting a fairway seems pretty damn good. Like, where is this guy if we put him up against 2000 Tiger Woods?
Well, the 2000 Tiger Woods probably would have won this tournament by 4 or 5 shots. The 2000 Tiger Woods wouldn't have started double bogey on Thursday to get 3 over after 2 holes. All right, so the 2000 Tiger Woods might have done what Tiger Woods did over the weekend this week, but the Tiger Woods of 2000 would have taken care of business during those first 2 days. Is sort of, if that makes any sense. So I think it's a little bit of both. At 42 years old, what he's put through his body, it's physically impossible to be that guy, to be the guy we saw not even 18 years ago, to be a guy we even saw 10 years ago winning the U.S. Open on a broken leg. So it's not that. I think that guy would have probably won this tournament on these softer conditions, would have shot lights out and then got everybody squirming the last 2 days and would have run away with it. But still, that doesn't mean we can't appreciate really this last month in general. The Open at Carnoustie was leading with 8 holes to go. He never quite got to the lead, but he went toe-to-toe with one of the young studs, young up-and-coming American studs, and didn't back down. Yeah, the driver on 17 was awful. You cannot hit that shot. But he would have had to have made eagle to even have a shot. You never know. You never know what would have happened. Ended up making par, but still was pretty damn interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, the 17th was a joke. And I know, he makes par, right? So it's a 600-yard hole, and he plugs his tee shot into the hazard and makes 5, and it's like, oh, what a disappointment. He made par. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Is there a part of you, though, that looks at Brooks Koepka and his 400-yard drives and his physique and, like, how few guys look like that in 2000, by which I mean none, and wonders – like how different the field is the Tiger's competing against in 2018?
Yeah, no, it's totally different. And it's different because of Tiger. Tiger, put that weight on and was the workout freak back in the day. Remember how skinny he was. and he's the one that turns golfers into athletes, right? I mean, like the Craig Stadlers and the Tim Herons of the world, sort of before the generation before him, and he's the one that really changed the conversation into it's okay to be an athlete. Is golf a sport? Maybe it wasn't before before 2000, but it damn sure is a sport right now because of these guys. And so, these are all the Tiger babies, right? These guys that are now beating Tiger are the Tiger babies. DJ and even Spieth and Rory, Jason Day, Brooks Koepka, these guys are the Tiger babies. These are the monsters that Tiger Woods created. And that's why even really a sort of an added bonus of how cool it is for Tiger to basically go against guys on the back nine on the major on Sunday wearing that black and red, stalking the golf course against really sort of these big stud athletes that he had a hand in making.
So if we're going to see Tiger Woods win multiple times next year, which I think is very much in the cards. I tweeted earlier, I wouldn't be taking the under on 1.5 tournaments for him. I wouldn't. If we're going to say that he's healthy, what is it that's going to take him, in your eyes, or what's most important for him to start sealing some of these up and actually getting wins?
The two things from this past week, I mean, first of all, the driver, that's no big secret there. He's got to figure that thing out. Again, you can't. It was awesome that he finished with birdie, but you cannot blow that tee shot right on 17. The pressure, he just was struggling with the driver really all week and really sort of all year. Has to get that sorted out. And the putting sort of is hot and cold. He made a ton of key putts this last week, but he didn't make anything over 20 feet. So he finished second place and didn't make one putt over 20 feet. I don't even know how that's possible. I don't know how that's possible. So I think those are the two things. His iron play's fine. His wedge play's been terrific. His short game in general, really, is chipping and around the green, being able to get up and down, is really good. So I think it's really that next level and really figuring out how to get that ball in the fairway all the time, and then how to convert a little bit on some of the longer putts. And I'm, like you guys, I would have been. I'd probably said on your show, I'm surprised. I just didn't think he was going to contend in majors this year, and to be able to do it twice in this last month is it's incredible.
What's reasonable as far as a time frame for him to win majors, to continue doing this? Because Jack won at 46 years old, right? He won 3 majors past the age of 40. Tiger is 42 right now, but he's definitely got a different body than Jack did. But of course, he's gone through different health problems than Jack. Are we looking at like 4 more years, 16 more major tournaments? That's reasonable to think about Tiger getting a shot?
I think so, but I know we're all prisoners of the moment. I mean, that's why we have jobs, right? Because we're prisoners of the moment, and that's what we talk about. And I'm not predicting injury. I'm not doing that. I still want to guard against sort of thinking that he's got another 5-6 years of being perfectly healthy, right? I mean, 9-10 months ago, the guy couldn't walk. And so I think he's fine. He tells us he's fine. Behind closed doors, I'm sure it's probably a little harder to get out of bed than we think. I just still continue to wonder how much torque can be put on that fused back over a long period of time. So I think your 4 years is, your 3 to 4 years is reasonable. 45, 46. I mean, you start getting into those late 40s, man, and it's just time catches up with you, and I just don't see it. So I really see, contending at the Masters. I mean, the Masters is 237 days away, all right? Mark that on your calendars. That's going to be a big one. We know he's going to always be able to contend at the Open, but just because the conditions and things there over the next couple of years. So I think you're right, 4 years tops, 3 years really. So that 12 to 16 more majors, and that's it.
Have you heard anything about what he's doing differently right now in terms of his workout regimen or how he's keeping his back in good shape? Because, there have been some shots over the last few tournaments, especially like irons from bunkers.
Or you're like 9-iron from the matted down rough.
Right, where you're looking at it and saying, oh, God, like how is the back going to survive that? And yet there really haven't been any stories as to like what Tiger is doing differently. Like originally it was, hey, he's going to be very patient with his approach, and he's not going to rush and play way too many tournaments. That was the mistake of the past, and it started that way. But we were talking on Friday that he's really ramped it up. Like, he played 3 tournaments in 4 weeks, and yet this doesn't really seem to be there hasn't really been that flare up. There's some discussion about maybe icing down more, or that he doesn't run 5K after finishing his rounds.
Right.
But do you know anything about changes to what he's doing to stay healthy?
Well, it's sort of what you said. Well, first of all, isn't it fun? Last week we played terribly at the Bridgestone. Everybody thinks his back hurts.
Yeah.
Nobody said anything the past 4 days when the guys hit the top of the leaderboard, which I think is kind of funny. It kind of goes with the territory. And I'm with you too. I think he is. I know he's surprised that he's playing this much golf, because he played so well at the beginning, or not the beginning of the year, but really over these last couple months, to get himself in position to be able to play all these. The goal was to play Bridgestone, and he qualified for it last week because of how great his Open finish was. Now he's in virtually all the playoff events, so he can really play another 4 out of 5 weeks leading into the Ryder Cup. We know he's going to get picked for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
So I think this is in a situation right now where he kind of has to watch it. I'm not suggesting he doesn't play one of those events, but this is way more golf than he ever dreamed he would be playing this year, late in the year, where there's been a lot of torque. But you heard him talk about the ice pass. I do think it's that. I don't think it's not running as much as maybe it's walking and light jogging, things like that. A lot of stretching. He's just doing a lot of stretching just every morning, sort of just to get out of bed, get going, and things like that. You kind of see him behind the scenes doing a little bit more stretching. So it's just sort of, what older people do. He just happens to be Tiger Woods and be one of the best older people ever. So it's not anything that's putting any hard toll on the body. It's just more stretching, icing, walking, jogging, nothing hardcore anymore.
Oh, yeah, stretching. I mean, once you turn 30, if you try and run without stretching, you'll be. I was in traction. Before we let you go, Brooks Koepka. Okay, he's boring. We know that. I'm reading stuff and getting mixed messages from him, though, because I read that he was motivated by the fact that people were overlooking him and they were paying attention to Tiger Woods. But then, he doesn't do any of the stuff to promote himself. Like, what does he want? Does he want to be popular?
Other than win.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to win, obviously, but does he care about the attention, about being overlooked by a Tiger Woods or for a Tiger Woods?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I don't know, because he's changed his tune a little bit, because before this year it was sort of always, I'm not a golf nerd. I'm an athlete. I'm not really, basically made us think that he's a golfer because there really wasn't anything else that he wanted to do, and that golf is a job to him. Doesn't watch golf when he doesn't play, doesn't study stats, doesn't do all that. And I think really up until this year, people were, it's cool the first time you say it, but the third, fourth, and fifth time you say it, you're like, all right, dude, get over yourself. You're making millions of dollars. Get your head into this. Like, you're not going to get anybody to root for you when you don't care about doing what you're doing. So you don't care what you're doing, so why should we care about it? This year he's finally changed his tune a little bit, in that I think he realized how much he missed the game when he was out, missed the Masters with his hurt wrist and all that stuff. So he's changing his tune when it comes to that, but his actions are still, as you said, wants people to notice, wants people to show up, wants to do that, but then won't go on a national-wide media tour. He's not going to go on Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel. He's not going to do that. So it is sort of a speaking out of both sides of your mouth. As he wants more attention, but then when there's a chance for him to go out and give more and do more, he doesn't take it. And he's just a different cat, man. And that doesn't make him a good guy or a bad guy. It just makes him different. But all I know is he has 4 tour victories and 3 of them are majors, and that's incredible.
Yeah, small T-shirt or giant arms or both. Jay, appreciate the time. Thanks.
Thanks, buddy.
No problem, boys. Take it easy.
You too. Jay Coffin, editor at golfchannel.com.